Thank you for joining us for Working Through the Word, a ministry of the Richmond Church of Christ. Let's join our pulpit minister, Mike Johnson, as he brings today's lesson.
I have been blessed to be in the presence of saints when they pass. I've seen the joy of a family that knows that their loved one is safe in the arms of Jesus. I hope you've had that experience when you have lost a loved one. It doesn't make any sense, does it, to celebrate death? Celebrate death. And yet that's exactly what we're doing today. Someone has said, in fact, this morning I heard it, we celebrate death every Sunday because we are people who appreciate the death of Jesus on our behalf. And the question is, why? This morning, as we continue to examine the theme of the year with the word imagine, imagine with me death with confidence. What about you? Does death give you fear? A chill? Cause you to pause? Are you wanting to be one who, like that one you might have seen pass, as I would like to be able to say confidently, facing my death because of what I know? Think with me today about this confidence. First, we need to understand the reality of death, and we all do. But think about it this way: the reality of death. Death is an intrusion into this life, an unwelcomed stranger. When God created and put Adam and Eve in that garden, and He said, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day you eat of it, you will die. And they ate. And death intruded this life. Therefore, Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 26 said, it is our enemy, the last enemy that will be destroyed is death. But now, in Scripture, death is twofold. Physical death is inescapable. It is appointed to men once to die. But after this comes judgment. Hebrews 9 and 27. It has often been said, death is the one appointment that not a single person will miss. And yet, spiritual death is unimaginable. In the Revelation in chapter 20, Jesus wrote through John, death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire, and this is the second death. We can't even imagine what it means to be spiritually dead. Because the body without the spirit is dead, James said in chapter 2. And so, what happens in spiritual death? It's a horror of separation from God in a way that I can't even imagine. And yet, physical death can be a wonderful beginning. Paul said in Philippians chapter 1, "For me to live is Christ, but to die is gain." Death physically can be a wonderful beginning of a life of gain, far better than here. And yet, it can also be a horrible end. When Jesus says, "Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire." This twofold death. Yes, physical death pains the loved ones left behind. But spiritual death will separate a person from the loved ones who are now pain-free in their spiritual existence. And the account of the rich man and Lazarus, the rich man found himself in torments. And when he found out that nothing could be done to change his circumstance, he said, "Send somebody back. I have 5 brothers. I don't want them to come to this place." His spiritual death left him separated from family. But spiritual death will inevitably separate some from family who are not spiritually dead, and they live a pain-free existence. That's the reality of death, and we all understand it. But let us for a moment, in understanding how to face death with confidence, let's let Jesus talk to us. Let's let him set an example. So first, notice Jesus' reaction to his own death. Jesus' reaction to his own death. All 4 Gospels record that Jesus, prior to his death, was in the garden with his disciples. And he went away to pray, and they fell asleep. His prayer was, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." He didn't want to die. There was something about it that he just did not want to face. Therefore, it seems to me understandable when we're hesitant about death, or when we're sorrowful. Jesus was. And yet he was resigned to the fact. In Mark chapter 10 and verse 33, he told his disciples, "We're going to go to Jerusalem. And there the scribes and the Pharisees are going to deliver me over to the people, and they will put me to death." It was a sorrowful thought, and yet he was resigned to do it. I think the reason is he didn't fear physical death. Do not fear him who can destroy the body, but rather fear him who can destroy both body and spirit in hellfire. Matthew 10 and 28. His sorrow and his resignation to follow through it was because he didn't fear physical death. That wasn't what he really was sorrowing about. Instead, he was sorrowing over the other death. Physical death, understandably, gives us hesitation, might cause us to be sorrowful, gives us pause, but it should not eat away at our spiritual condition. But Jesus was pained over spiritual death. In Hebrews chapter 2 and in verse 9, the Hebrew writer made it clear. He tasted death for every man. Well, now wait a minute. If it is inescapable and we're going to keep that appointment, then how did he die to take that appointment away? It wasn't about physical death. It's about spiritual death. His sorrow, his deep agony in the garden was his knowledge that he was about to be separated from his Father for the first time. He didn't want to do that. It pained him. And he wept, as it were, great drops of blood. His reaction then should be understood in the context of spiritual death, while at the same time, I think, allowing us as humans to have a little bit of hesitancy about physical death. But that's exactly why I'm so impressed when I've been around a Christian who passes with such confidence. Such confidence. And I want that. And I think you want that. So how is it we can be confident? How do we face death with confidence like Jesus did? We can do it, and he tells us how. In the words of John, chapter 18, Jesus was before Pilate before he died. And he and Pilate were having a conversation. And in the conversation, Jesus said in verse 36, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my saints would fight." Number one, Jesus shows us that we can face death with confidence if we are not making our primary investment in this world, that's the situation. If I'm not making my investment in this world, but rather I'm sending the treasures on, then I can have death with confidence. And that's exactly what Jesus did. He was absolutely free of the bonds of this world. It may be that that's your longing. I know it's mine. It would be great if we could just turn off all the desire and all the draw to this world and simply be drawn to spiritual things. But we're human, we're flesh, and we fight it. But throughout our lives, the more we can disconnect from this world, the more we will connect with the world that is to come, and confidence in our departure will come with it. Number two, Jesus was confident because he knew that his Father was going to raise him up. John 5:24, he said, if anybody hears me and does my will, the Father will raise him up, because he knew that he would be raised up. What is it that causes us such insecurity about death? Well, it's simple. We've never done it before. That's the simple point. And yet we can know with confidence that being laid to rest is not the rest of eternity. We're going to be raised. The Father said it, and he proved it when he raised Jesus and brought him back to life from the grave. You and I can have that same confidence. Number three, I can face death with confidence when I know that Jesus has confidence in me. He who hears my word and believes it will never die. He's not talking about physical death, but he is talking about the one death that matters, spiritual death. And Jesus is confident. He is confident that if I listen to him and if I follow his will, that I'll never die. But here's the problem. I know me better than you know me. And you know yourself better than anybody else knows you. And I have, and you probably do too, I have a record in my head of all the issues, the problems, the sins, the mistakes, the failures, the shortcomings. And it's those things in my mind that give me pause about whether he will raise me or not. But his confidence in me is not based on me. It's based on him. It's not about me doing everything that's right all the time. But it is about him who sacrificed one time for all time and will at the end of time raise us up, and He's confident of that. Therefore, I can be confident. The Bible teaches that. I can be confident. I'm persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing will be able to separate me from the love of God. Romans 8, 38, 39. And I don't have to compare myself to Paul in order to be able to say what he said. I'm being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure is at hand. I fought a good fight. I finished the course. I've kept the faith. Therefore, there's laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me in that day, and not to me only, but to all those who have loved His appearing. I don't have to compare myself to Paul thinking he's a spiritual giant and I'm a spiritual dwarf. All I have to do is compare myself to what Jesus did for me. Did He do it for you? If you have accepted the death that He died and you were immersed in water to wash away sins, you've accepted His sacrifice on your behalf. And if you just keep going and you finish the course and you keep the faith, you can have confidence when your time of death comes. Why? Because like everybody or so many in some way, at least as Paul said in Philippians 1, some preach Jesus out of bitterness or self-preservation. I'm just glad they're preaching Jesus. And if only 1 or 2 days out of the year people think about Him, we can at least be grateful that they are at that time. And today people are thinking about the resurrection of Jesus that gives us confidence in our own resurrection. You can be confident facing death because of what Jesus did. But what I have to do is to accept what He did for me. If you've not obeyed the gospel, or if you've run away from it in your life, and you're ready to get back on track, today may not be any better time than now to make it right. If you meet our shepherds while we stand and sing together.
We hope that you enjoyed today's broadcast, brought to you by the Richmond Church of Christ. We are located at 1500 Lancaster Road in Richmond, Kentucky. We meet at 9 a.m. each Sunday morning for Bible class, followed by our morning worship service held at 10 a.m. Our Sunday evening service is held at 6 p.m. Our midweek Bible study is held on Wednesday at 7 p.m. We have Bible classes available for all ages on Sunday mornings and Wednesday evenings. If you are in the area, we would love to have you as our honored guest. If you're looking for a home church, we would love to make you part of our family here in Richmond. We hope this has been a blessing to you and pray that you have been strengthened and encouraged. Have a blessed day.